Okay, so what I'm going to do is try and show you how to use GitHub and GitHub Desktop so you can write your programs on the computer and then upload them to github.com. So I've logged into github.com and I've just clicked on my name there, and this is what it shows me. Okay, and there's a lot of how many commits I've done and what my activity is. So that's there. If you go to your repositories, there are things called projects, but we're not doing those. Okay, we're doing repositories. So if you go to repositories, it's all the different projects. They could be websites. This one's a website, or they could be Python code. So depends what you're working on. You can make a new repository by clicking this one here, or a new repository by clicking here. So there's a few different ways you can make one, and that's where you can make them. If you make one on here, then what you'll have to do is clone it on your desktop. I'm going to show you a different way of doing it. Okay, so I'll show you two ways. I'm not going to use any of these projects that are on github.com. I'm going to go onto my computer, and I'm going to use one that's on my computer and upload it. So go down to here, and this is actually GitHub Desktop. Okay, this is the offline, not on the internet one. Right, so what I'll do is on here is I'm going to go File, and I'm going to create a new repository. I'm doing this not on the internet, but on my computer. Okay, so I'll go New, and I'll give it a name, and this one's going to be Test Repo for repository. It should have either a hyphen or an underscore. Okay, no spaces. And I don't have to put anything. Now, you can add a README file if you want. Ignore. Don't worry about that. Yeah, don't worry about that. And license, don't worry about that. So we'll just go create repository. Now, just trying to show you what this actually does. So if I look up here, you see it's called test repository. That's the one I just made. Now remember this is not the internet. I'm not on the internet. I'm on my local computer. So if I shrink that down, I'll show you. Oops, wrong one. Man, that's annoying. Okay, go back. So test repository. Now let's show you where that actually is. So if I go like this and go to my documents, you'll see there's a folder called GitHub. This is on my computer. If I open it, you'll see there is one called test repo that I just made. So it's an empty folder at the moment, but this is on my computer. Okay, so that's everything I make will be in this folder. So I'll close that, go back to GitHub Desktop, and I'm in there now. I want to start coding stuff into this folder here. So I'll open Visual Studio Code there. And now I'm in Visual Studio Code for doing my Python coding, and it should say up here test repo. That's where it's saying. On the other one, it says test repo, and actually if you click on it, you'll see all your other folders. They're on your computer. They're the other folders on your computer. Okay, so if you want to find another one, or if you want to open another one that's on your computer, you can do it that way. Okay, so anyway, I'm in test repo, and I'm going back to my my test repo window. What's it called? Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to write a file. I'll just go new file, and this one is test.py. Push enter, and I want to save it. I'm saving it in my folder on my computer called test repo. Okay, and now there's a file called test repo, test.py. I'm just going to print hello world. Hello world. Okay, and now I'll run it to see if make sure it works. And it prints out down the bottom there, hello world. So it's working. Okay, so that's fine. Right, so here's my test. Now I want to, this is just my basic file, and I want to go save. So I'll just save it. Save. Okay, now let's see what we've done. I'll just shrink that down for a second, and you'll see when I'm back in, it's this one here, the cat one, GitHub repository. You'll see that I've got a new file there, a new one, and it's got a change, one change. I can view the change through the history. I can look at it and say, yep, this is where I started, and this is where I started from. So if I check, yep, there it is, and I want to commit that. So let's make a little message. Started coding. Printed hello or something. Okay, and I'm just going to commit. Now I'm not in my Visual Studio Code. I'm in GitHub. Okay, click, and awesome, I've committed it. All right, push commit. I've done it. Made a little message and push commit. Now let's go to the history, and now you'll see that I started here coding, and there was my initial commit where I made it, and there was nothing there. Now I started coding, and I've got my first line that I've got, and this is keeping track of my changes. As I add more code, I can look at the history, and it will show more green things being added to the file. So I can go back to there, and it says there's nothing to do, but it is saying, do I want to publish my repository on GitHub on the internet? It's asking me, do I want to do that? As long as you are signed in through here, options, and you're signed in to the one online, and you want to check also integration that it's Visual Studio Code there. Okay, as long as that's signed in, we can put our little file, this hello world file, on the internet. Okay, so we'll just go back to here, and I'll go publish, and I'm going to push it onto GitHub. It's going to make it on GitHub because it's not on GitHub at the moment. It says, do you want to keep this code private? And I'm going, no, I'm not going to keep it private, and go publish. Boom. Now it's working, trying to do it. And now I've got this option called fetch, and that means fetch it from the internet. Okay, so if I can bring that code down, any changes that are on there. I have one branch, only one branch. Don't worry about the branches too much because we're only going to work with one branch. I can fetch the stuff off the internet there, and I can look at the history of the different ones where I started, and then I started coding, and this is the changes I've made. Okay, so now we've got our version control here with the history, and it's good. Back in my Visual Studio Code, you'll see I've only written one. So let's write another line of code so you can see cool stuff happening. So let's put in a for loop. And you can sort of see what we can do. I'm just going to print. Right. Now, Visual Studio Code also will let me push it onto the internet with this little button, but I'm not teaching you that way today. I'm trying to teach you that you can do it through GitHub, okay? So here's the code. I want to run it, make sure it works first before I do anything. Yep, it prints out 0 to 9, hello world, and then a loop 0 to 9. Good, it seems to be working. Now I want to save it. Just go save. Yep, my code's saved, and I can shrink down this, and voila, look at this. We've now got one more change. It's your first one was print hello. Now we've got a loop. Okay, so one change. We can update. We can update it by putting a little message. So you can make a little message commit. So you can say added a loop. Okay, and I can commit. Boom, push that. Awesome. Now I can look at my history of all the things I've done. So initial, first printing out, then the new code, added a loop. Yay! Now we're getting somewhere. I've got like lots of lines of code now. That's in the history. And now if I want to put it onto the internet and change the one on the internet, I can push it here or there. Okay, so I'll just go push. And it says there's nothing else to do. Okay, so let's go back to the internet and let's see what's actually happened on the internet. Alright, here we go. So I'm looking, I'll have a look at update my inventories. Yeah, there is one called test repo. That's the one we made on our computer. So you remember, if I go back onto my computer, you'll see under my documents, under GitHub, we made one called on our computer called test repo, and it has the test.py there. So this is on my computer. Test repo in GitHub on my computer. Now I've pushed all that up to here now. So if I go into this repository, which is on the internet, and you look at it, you'll see that it's got my file here now. It's got test repo made, and it's got my file, which I can look at if I open it up, and it will have all my code in there. Alright, see how now we've got it all on the internet now? Cool, eh? Yeah. So we can go, so basically, I didn't make it this way. I made it by, I made that new one, the new one, test repo on my computer. I made it on my computer here by going make a new repository, and then I've uploaded it from my computer to the internet. And this is really cool because it keeps track of your versions, okay? As you add more code, it keeps track of it as you're coding it, and it shows you changes, and you can update it to the internet. So that's how you can use GitHub. It might be a lot easier doing it this way than getting one like off the internet you've made already and cloning it and bringing it down, okay? So if you're having issues with cloning it and bringing it down, maybe try making one this way, a new one this way, and then uploading it to the internet. Maybe try doing it that way, which is easy because you don't even have to use you don't have to do it with this or anything like that. You just have to code your program in here, push run to test it and get rid of the bugs and all that. and then you save it, and then you can go, once you've saved it, you can go into here and you can write a little description of what you've done, commit it, and then push it, okay, if push it up to the internet, and this will keep track of your versions, plus it'll let you upload it to the internet. So that's probably the easier way for you guys to work. So I've showed you, yeah, there's a couple ways we could do this, but that's probably the easiest way, okay?